Next week, right?
You don't understand.
I'll be there. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're getting.
But again, we go back to being our superior.
Whatever.
Turn it back on.
Can we do the picture first
I'm ready.
before we do,
You think that?
before we get all disheveled with the
Meeting
with
made.
the commission? Can we all
I
do
know.
goofy faces?
Did you look at the other one?
To order, we will have Commissioner Randall lead us in the invocation, and Mr. George will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
Please pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, thanks so much for this wonderful day, Lord, and this time of year, and just all that you bless us with in our great country and our town. And thank you for the opportunity we have to come together as this commission and make decisions for the city, and pray you put your hand on the commissioners tonight and help us to make the best decisions we can and for the greater good of the people of Aztec. And pray look over all of our people, Lord, our citizens and those elsewhere. And thank you again for this great opportunity. And continue to bless us and be with us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, Chair Lynn, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Burbridge,
Here?
Mayor Pro Tem Sight,
Here.
Commissioner Rogers,
Here.
Commissioner McClure,
Here.
Commissioner Randall,
Here.
all are present.
Okay, thank you. Next is the agenda approval. If there are any items on this evening's agenda that need to be pulled from consideration, now would be the time to do so. Okay, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve this evening's agenda as given.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I move to approve the agenda this evening as given.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve this evening's agenda as given. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, next we'll move into citizen recognition. Mr. Ray?
Thanks, Mayor. Mr. Carmen does have 2 recognitions for tonight.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission. The Aztec Spirit Award has been on hiatus for about 3 months, but it's back. Our business of the quarter could not be here tonight, but it's high-tech rental tools. And I had a long conversation with Mr. Martinez because he was asking me what the procedure was and how it happened. And I says, you know what? We're happy that you're here, and we're happy that you're working through this downturn. And he goes, well, we're doing good. He goes, and we're here to stay. I'm born and raised. This is where we're at. So he was extremely happy and pleased to get the Spirit Award, the business one for the
I
quarter.
love that question. How did it happen?
Yeah.
I don't know. You take care of your place.
I just kind of show up and it happens. He couldn't be here tonight. I guess he's in Dallas making money, I guess, for some kind of business. But he sends his best, and he wanted me to show his, pass on his appreciation.
Thank you.
My residential winner for the month is Jessica Anderson. She lives on Sutton Street. If you're not familiar where Sutton is, it runs parallel with Lover's Lane off of Bunker over in that neighborhood. And right now, again, it's because we're just coming out of winter and it's spring. It's not quite green yet, but I'll tell you what, she keeps all of her neighbors in check, which is something that I appreciate. And she does a good job at keeping up her property. I get a call from her occasionally about what the neighbors are doing, and so I stop by.
Yeah.
Going to come up, Jessica, I'll give you a certificate. And
I think that comes back, Bob, too, when Miss Anderson served on the P&Z board. I think that's part of that, keeping everybody else in check. I think that's the connection, just FYI.
And you get that huge trophy over there against the wall.
I saw the, do I carry that?
No, I'll do it.
We have Bob to carry that for you.
Well, I have to say it's a work in progress.
She called me what was it, yesterday or this morning?
This morning.
She goes, there's a pile of gravel in my backyard. And I go, I know, but it'll be gone.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay. Is that it for citizen recognition?
Citizen and employee, Mayor.
Oh, okay. All right, then that moves us to the consent agenda. Items placed on the consent agenda will be voted on with one motion. If there are any items that do not meet the approval of a commissioner may request that the item be heard under items from the consent agenda. Okay, hearing none, I would entertain a motion for approval.
Madam Mayor. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No.
Madam Mayor,
Somebody go.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, and is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this evening's consent agenda as given. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, there being no items from the consent agenda, then we'll move to citizens' input. Citizens' input is for anyone who's here to address the commission about an item not on this evening's agenda. You will have up to 3 minutes to address the commission. Please understand we cannot respond to that input. No? Okay. No citizens' input, so we'll move into business items. Business item A, intent to adopt ordinance 2016-450, amending Chapter 22, Section 22-513, commercial use of public property.
Mayor, this item is in direct response to the workshop that was held today for commission. The item in question results in amending city ordinances to allow vending trucks on city property.
Are there any questions from the commission? No, ma'am?
Nope.
I think we hashed it out pretty good.
If there are no questions and no further discussion, I would entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I move to approve the intent to adopt ordinance 2016-450, amending section 22-513, commercial use of public properties.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we need a roll call? Sherilyn?
Mayor Burbridge,
Aye.
Commissioner Randall,
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers,
Aye.
Commissioner McClure,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Syed,
Aye.
motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Next, business item B is intent to adopt ordinance 2016-451, amending Chapter 11, Article 9, food catering, food vending, and mobile vending units.
Mayor, this item, in conjunction with the previous item on the agenda, allows food and other vending units. So as Ms. George presented in the workshop, currently we were looking at just food, so this would be food and other vending units.
Are there any questions from commission?
No.
Okay, then I would entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to move to approve intent to adopt ordinance 2016-451, amending Chapter 11, Article 9, food catering, food vending, and mobile vending units.
Second.
Okay.
All together.
We have
That was my
Did you
turn.
capture a second, Sherilyn? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would you please call the roll on this item also?
Mayor Pro Tem Syed,
Aye.
Commissioner McClure,
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers,
Aye.
Commissioner Randall,
Aye.
Mayor Burbridge,
Aye.
motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Next is the land use hearing. As we move into the hearing, I get to read through this, everyone's favorite script. Please bear with me. Okay. The following hearing procedure is for all hearings on tonight's agenda. A land use hearing registration form is located on the clerk's table for those who wish to receive a copy of the results from this hearing. You must provide your full name and current mailing address in order to receive a copy of the land use hearing order. If you wish to testify and provide comment on the matter at issue, you must register with the clerk on the land use hearing registration form and be sworn in with staff, the applicant, identified parties, witnesses, and interested persons. The meeting tonight will be conducted under procedures mandated by the New Mexico Court of Appeals in Battershell versus the City of Albuquerque, which are intended to protect the due process rights of all parties. Under this ruling, the following procedures will apply. Parties to the meeting will be identified, as will any witnesses the parties may wish to give testimony, as well as any interested persons wishing to testify and provide comment. City staff has a responsibility to assist the commission in fully developing the meeting record and may testify. All persons offering testimony will be sworn in by myself, who is authorized to administer oaths. All persons offering testimony will be subject to cross-examination by commission, city staff, and the parties to the hearing. Testimony will be limited to the relevant matter being heard. The item to be decided at tonight's public hearing is a variance permit for 1815 West Aztec Boulevard to allow feather flags. Testimony will be limited by myself. For the purposes of this meeting, applicants are defined as Ms. Deborah Clay. Do you have the sign-up form, Sherilyn? Thank you. Okay. Okay. Other persons may be designated by the commission as parties if they can show to the satisfaction of the commission that they have an immediate, pecuniary, or direct interest in the outcome of the meeting. Witnesses are those persons designated by parties to present testimony on their behalf. Interested persons are those persons interested in the case but not identified as either a party by commission or a witness by any party. So aside from the applicant and city staff, are there any persons who wish to be identified as a party to this item? Okay, seeing none. Okay,
I think we have one, Mayor.
huh? A party? So did we have someone who's interested in being identified as a party?
We are interested party.
Yes, but not a party to.
Interested person.
Okay. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, so the only person identified as a party for this hearing tonight is Ms. Deborah Clay. And then we have two interested persons signed up. Were you wishing to sign up to speak also? No. No, okay. So we have Andy Noyes and Vanjie Neal as interested persons. Okay. Okay, do the commission accept these individuals as Ms. Deborah Clay as the party, and then Ms. Andy Noyes and Ms. Vanjie Neal as the interested persons?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, as we move into the land use hearing part of this meeting, is there a challenge to the jurisdiction of the City of Aztec Commissioners to hear any of the hearings on tonight's agenda? Seeing none. Are there any conflicts of interest or personal biases to be declared by a commission member?
No.
No.
Okay. Have there been any ex parte contacts regarding the upcoming matters that a commission member needs to declare?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so that at this time, will the staff, the applicant, and parties identified by commission, all witnesses and interested persons wishing to testify regarding the variance permit for 1815 West Aztec Boulevard to allow feather flags, please stand and raise your right hand. Okay, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Okay, please be seated. Thank you. Testimony and evidence must be directed toward the variance permit for 1815 West Aztec Boulevard to allow feather flags and any applicable federal, state, or municipal laws or regulations or criteria which the person testifying believes to apply to the decision. Failure to raise an issue with sufficient specificity to afford us and other interested persons an opportunity to respond to the issue precludes appeal on that issue. Any party, as identified by the commission, may request a continuance of this hearing if able to provide documentation or evidence in support or opposition of the application, in addition to what was available at the time that notice of this hearing was provided. In the conduct of land use hearings, unless there is a continuance, if a participant so requests before the conclusion of the initial evidentiary hearing, the record shall remain open for at least 7 days after the hearing. So the order of presentation are on the screen to your left. I'll quickly read through the parts that pertain this evening. First, staff will summarize the staff report to the extent necessary to enable those present to understand the issues before the commissioners. Then the commission members may ask questions of staff, and they may be cross-examined by the applicant and parties. Next, the applicant, to include their witnesses, will have up to 15 minutes to address the commission. The commission members may ask questions of the applicant, and they may be cross-examined by staff and parties. In this instance, Ms. Clay. exception, continue the public hearing until a specified time, or take the matter under advisement and announce their recommendation at a specified time. Okay, so now we will begin, and we'll begin with staff giving a summary of the staff report for this item.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the Commission. What you have before you today, as read into the record, is a variance request to our sign code made by the applicant, the owner of a new business that we have on West Aztec Boulevard. And this really stems from the discussion, our workshop that, if you recall, we had on March 8th, prior to your meeting, discussing the issue of feather signs. And this particular case, or this particular address, as well as a business on Main Street, Main Avenue in downtown, was also pointed to as an example of having feather signage. So during that meeting, I think there was some support expressed by several commission members that they could see that there was some need for additional signage here. Could understand from the viewpoint of this particular instance why, because of the setback, the type of building, etc. The applicant tonight was at that meeting. The other business downtown, that person was not there and did not speak up. It is worth noting that while I was writing this, the Main Street business was moving out. I think it was there 3 months, so I don't know if they had a 3-month option or what happened. I didn't get over there to talk to them. We did, as you will see, provide the proper notice for you and everyone else and drew the lines correctly. But this is that Quonset hut, and that is there, formerly a fencing company. And I think that could possibly be another reason that it might be difficult, because it doesn't look like a typical business you might expect to be in there. But this started with, to be honest, a friendly visit to the new business when code enforcement saw that there was some illegal signage up there. We had a new business in and no permits had been pulled. So rather than just issue a citation, both Mr. Carmen and I visited the premises, had a look around, welcomed them to town, and said, by the way, you just stop by and get a permit for your signage. And they stopped in that day and got the sign permits. As you heard at the testimony, or at the workshop, oftentimes we hear what we're not allowed to do instead of what we are allowed to do. And at that time, we also discussed there's a difference between new businesses and startup businesses and well-established franchise businesses, and that sometimes is often the case here. I mean, the zoning code does not have the ability to distinguish between what kind of business plan it is. It just establishes sign criteria. And Mr. Thrower can tell you we do not look at content. We look at size, placement, whether it's lit, whether it has messages, flashing, etc. So it's as much as you want to look at trying to help a small business out. Right now we don't have that ability in the sign code, and this is one of the most highly contested issues in front of the U.S. Supreme Court every year, signage, whether they're controlling what it says, etc., freedom of speech. So as I said, Bode Furnishings was not the only business at the time dealing with this. However, that business that was an antique store on Main has left. As we look at what the variance is, and after the workshop, I spoke with the applicant, it's her mother, who's actually here tonight, talked to them about what the best approach would be, and I suggested a variance. I also said that it would be difficult for me, just remember, that the variance procedures, and I've copied them in here, the points to look at, can be somewhat stringent, but they're also subjective. There are things that I, as a professional planner, look at, and I make a recommendation to you based on how these seem to fit that site, but you're the commission, and you also have the ability to review them for your own subjective opinion and make a decision tonight. So you may not be used to having a recommendation say no to an applicant and then overturning that. I'm used to that. Don't hurt my feelings. But I do have to keep in mind that there are other businesses that may feel they have hardships. So I did list through here, and there are 9 things that are in our code, that the variance will not allow a use other than a use permitted. Some of these don't really count because, the variance process has to cover what any kind of variance is applied for by anything in this code. The ones that do, that under exceptional and extraordinary circumstances, having to abide by literal enforcement of the provisions of this ordinance will result in an unnecessary hardship. That's one that I could say it could be or couldn't, right? I mean, it's in that business person's eyes and their business plan, is it a hardship to me? So, in review of the 9, I still find that I have to, as your staff, and to try and maintain, the criterion and the balance of how this application weighs out. I say I give it a light recommendation for a disapproval, but it is a recommendation for disapproval simply because it doesn't, in my opinion, conform and meet all 9 conditions. I did prepare the applicant for that so they weren't surprised, and I'm prepared to be beaten up by this whole troop of young women over there waiting to come up here and say why I'm wrong. So, be glad to answer any questions you have at this time or afterwards.
Can you, for the 9 conditions for a variance, can you please explain number 1? Simply because it states that the variance will not allow a use other than a use permitted for the district. Well, if it's permitted for the district, then why do you need a variance?
No. This would pertain to a use variance. So say someone wanted to get...
So this is all variances,
Right.
not just sign
Exactly.
variances.
That's what I
Okay.
said. These have to apply for your whole
Okay.
code. So I want to have a lawnmower machine shop in there.
Okay.
And it's a residential district. That's not allowed.
Okay. Are there other questions for Mr. Homka?
Not right now.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Clay, you do have the opportunity to cross-examine Mr. Homka if there are any points that you feel need clarification. And so you do have that option to cross-examine anything for clarification that he said, or you can use your 15 minutes to address the commission. Well, not or, you have both options, sorry.
Okay. All right, well, let's see where we go with this.
Okay.
We're not a typical little business, and we did not choose a typical storefront. We chose a storefront that had been vacant for 2 years, that was pretty run down, but it was affordable, and it actually served our rustic needs that we were looking for. But it had been vacant for 2 years. It's difficult to see. We did fix the fence somewhat. We're not allowed to take the fence down. The flags would help. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You're fine.
If we had the feather flag, it would mark our entrance. More than anything, that's what we need. We're doing well as a little business, but gosh, when we had to take those flags down, that really, really hurt us. We have a lot of people coming in. We have advertised. We've advertised in the Thrifty Nickel. We've advertised in the Daily Times. And we have polled people when they come in, said, where did you hear about us? Not one was from the Daily Times. Not one has been from the Thrifty Nickel. People see signs and they come in. We run into people that hear about us and they want to know where we're at. They can't find us. We want to be a part of Aztec. We love Aztec. And if we work together, we can make this little business grow. In the last week, I just want to tell you, we have had 2 shipments of furniture come in because our first shipment, once we got it here, it was sold. People are finding us, but we could grow exponentially if we could just show people where we're at. We're trying to take that nasty little building and make it attractive to people of Aztec and people going through Aztec. All we need is just a little bit of help from you guys. I don't know, I don't. Do what? Oh, no. Ben hasn't. I'm sorry. I hope that I've articulated myself well. We just need a little bit of help from you guys, and we love to stay in Aztec. But we are going to be successful, even if we can't stay in Aztec. So, anyway, thank you for your consideration.
I do have a couple of questions for you. So first of all, this application for a variance is to use the feather flags. And on the title of our information, it says to put feather flags along the property line. And where exactly are you calling the property line?
The fence line,
The
the
fence line.
opening.
Okay.
You know, it's not like we're wanting to put, 50 flags down the fence line. We're just wanting to put up, 2 to 6 flags, maybe. Something to identify. We've got that median there that people have to actually go down if they're coming
Do a
from
U-turn.
Farmington, and people are making that when they find us.
Okay. And forgive me, do you know roughly how far back from the street the fence line is?
A little over the length of a semi-truck and trailer. How's that?
Oh, from the roadway, the
Yeah,
fence?
from the edge of the road.
Like 8 feet maybe?
8 feet,
it looks?
maybe? Okay, from the edge of the roadway, yeah.
From the
Yeah.
curb.
Okay.
Would they be like attached to the fence then, or up close to the fence?
Um,
Do you have a plan on how you're going to install them
we
yet?
haven't actually, probably we'd attach them to the fence.
Okay.
We've got a gate there, we'd probably put them on, both corners.
Okay. Other questions?
And are you looking to have like the business name on the flag? Is that, or?
Probably not the business name as much as just something that says welcome or open or, just
Okay.
maybe even sale. So we might, change the flags out periodically even.
Okay.
I do have it. Just
Okay, go ahead.
a question brought up by your question about what it's going to say, because if people are having a hard time realizing that it's a furniture store, I guess it seems like it would be.
It might grab attention from drivers, people going by
Yeah,
that didn't know about
I
it.
don't
if
know,
it-
but
We have a
anyway,
big sign on the front of the building that
Right.
identifies us.
right. But I know you said it was just, that a lot of times they don't know, because you're set so far back.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner McClure, did you have a
Have you
question?
tried putting the address on the fence?
No, we have not.
And just because of your comment that people, even though they call you and want to come up here, they can't find it. I don't know, Mr. Honka, if that's a problem, like putting 1815 or whatever, it is 1815.
At least that's our paperwork.
Yeah.
Address numbers are exempt.
They are. So we could have 1815. Well, I mean, if they're exempt, they could be as tall as me, not very tall, but.
Help you write the code to keep it up.
Ooh,
But I mean, if that's a problem,
Right.
I don't use GPS, I do look for addresses. So if that's a
Yeah.
problem, that's also something that you could do, that you wouldn't have to.
Which is an issue. There are a lot of businesses that do not prominently display their address, and
Some
so
of them have
you
no
can't.
address,
Yeah.
Houdini, guess it. But you might want to try that also, since, I mean, you can get,
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
numbers on there for old people like me.
Are there any other questions for Ms. Clayton? No? Okay,
thank you.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill, is there cross-examination?
Give me up, I got it. No, all I would say is, I thought, because of the issue, we were talking about 2 signs, the 2 feather flags. And we should just keep it to the feather flags, not content, even though those are good suggestions, because then we don't want to get caught up in that. But if we're going to grant a variance, make sure we know we're granting 2 signs, 4 signs, or 6, not just
That's what
signs.
I had that written
Okay.
down.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we've had staff, we've had the applicant. Okay, at this time then, we'll move down to interested persons. And first, we have Miss Andy Noyes. You get to come to the podium, the hot seat, and you do have up to 5 minutes to address the commission.
Okay. I actually live right behind Abode, and we even got a letter from the city asking us we were, wanted to come and attend this. There's about 6 houses right within my little cul-de-sac that received this. I went to all of the neighbors in my cul-de-sac and can't speak for them directly, but did get signatures that basically all of them are in favor of them having signs. And we're directly behind that, so I think it will help promote the business. They would like to keep the business in Aztec and have it, a Aztec business and helping the city, and so we're very in favor of having them have signs. And that's pretty much
That's
all
it.
I have.
With
That's
the
good.
signatures, you should submit that to the
Yes,
commission
so
we
that
can
it
make
becomes
it
part of the record.
Part of the record.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Elias?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So is there any cross-examination by Ms. Clay or Mr. Homka? No? Okay. All right. Then we'll move on. Ms. Neal?
This is not the legislature, so make it quick. Good afternoon, Commission. I just want to point out a few things and mirror much of what you have said and much of what Ms. Clay has said. It has been vacant for 2 years, and part of our role as the chamber and the voice of business is to fill these buildings, wherever they may be. Unfortunately, the location that Ms. Clay has decided, not in the county of Aztec, but she elected to move there because it was in the city. So she's become a tax generator, and of course, contributes to the city. She could have gone anywhere, still can, and we don't want that to happen. The building is so far removed that I remember when she invited me to come and visit, I couldn't find it. Now, she's not asking for a median opening as we did in Domino's. She's asking just for 2 feather flags and signage to be recognized. She is not the only building, not the only small business that is encountering that. So I'm hoping that the rewriting of the code will make it feasible for other small businesses wishing to move to the city of Aztec to attract attention and to create sales and to be those tax generators, or revenue generators, and of course pay the tax. We're looking for answers. We're hoping that you will consider this variance. One thing that Ms. Clay failed to mention to you is that an 18-wheeler will come in on one day, and she has sold that merchandise in a day and a half or 2. It just happened. She had 2 18-wheelers come in one day and sold everything but 2 pieces. So she is creating business. She's creating awareness. And she's also selling the story and creating the story that this is feasible. No matter where you are, this is feasible. And you don't have to be on downtown Maine to make this happen. I am sorry that antique store closed down. It is a shame. And the chamber will look into why. But I know that there have been several concerns from other businesses because of the code. Because of the signage, and I agree, I love the city of Aztec. The chamber loves the city of Aztec. Downtown Main Street, we don't want it to look like a circus. On that same note, we want these businesses who are investing in our town to receive a return on their investment. And I thank you all.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for Ms. Neal? No? Okay. Any cross-examination? No? Okay. Okay, are there any further questions from commission on this topic? Questions? Yes, questions before we close testimony.
Is there a way to put a specified time parameter on
On a variance?
On a variance,
A conditional use has a time,
you
right,
can-
for the
yeah,
life of the
You can place a
current.
time on a conditional use. You could limit it to only the current applicant. Now, that doesn't put a finite time on it, but
But it's,
it-
so,
you
but
don't
if they
build it into the
move,
code from
right.
now on. Or
Right.
build the variance in from now. You could limit it to the current applicant.
But we can't set a time specific on it.
And I don't know the answer to that without looking at the code. Bill, do you know?
The variance, in this case, for the sign would run with this,
Okay.
with this.
With this business, so for the lifetime of this business. in this location. Correct.
Use, like, so, use or conditional use or a variance for the use, which we aren't allowed to do, but that'd be like a non-conforming existing
Right.
would exist.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? No?
On a procedural note,
Yes.
if the commission wants to act on staff's recommended motion, that probably, see if there's enough support to make that motion. And then depending on the outcome of that vote, then there could be another motion. The motion is for disapproval, the
Understood.
recommended motion, or the commission could simply move to its own motion.
Right,
That's not staff's recommended motion.
right.
So two ways to go at it.
Okay.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
what was that Bill said about the number of signs, like the 2, 4, or 6? Would that to be in the motion itself, or is that?
That probably needs to be included in the motion, because otherwise, if we do a blanket variance, say we were to approve it, and we did a blanket, then they could,
limitless? Yeah.
they could line their entire front.
Right.
25
Yeah,
flags.
I think the motion should include the
The
number
specific.
of signs.
And I will say this, in reference to Mr. Throer's comment about the motion, this motion is listed, the recommended motion, as a negative motion. And negative motions frequently cause issues for elected bodies, because if you make a negative motion and you vote nay, you just approved it. Okay? So I would recommend, regardless of intent, that the motion be made in an affirmative manner. Does that make sense? Because then a yea vote is a yes and a nay vote denies it.
That's
We're gonna
correct.
do this a couple of times.
We have.
Yeah.
We have.
It's less confusing.
But Austin wasn't here. He's a rookie.
Okay, are there further questions so that we can close testimony? Okay, then at this point, we will close testimony. Further discussion among the commission.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
A couple of just things that I'm going to throw out there for that I have thought, and I've been, since we've been going through all this whole feather sign thing, I've been paying closer attention in Farmington
Right.
to the feather signs that are out there. And there are so many of them that are not in good shape. They're faded. They're not attractive anymore.
You don't even know what they're advertising. You don't know what they're.
And there's too many of them in locations.
And there's too many of them. So that's one point. I would like to see us, if we do, that the signs have to stay in good repair. That's just one of the things that, because I've
Well-
noticed, since I've been actually looking and paying attention, I can't believe how many of them are not. So that's one of my concerns. The other one I did have written down too about the number of flags. I think we do need to be, if we do approve it, we do need to be specific about how many we would allow along there, because we don't want it to be like that. And the only other thing that I had down is the precedents. Because we have denied some other people. I realize that this location sits farther back off the road, and, it's just something for us to think about. I'm not, but, so, that's what I had.
Gotcha.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
that's my only hesitation also. I mean, just following what Mr. Honka says with the 6 out of the 9. And we did talk about it and ask you to come in, for a variance, but then the floodgates will open. They will open, and I'm just wondering how we answer that as a commission, as a body. Well, we really like to boat them, and they're 200 feet back.
Yeah, I still have issues with feather signs. It's not just feather signs in general, and so I don't know what that answer is. I feel like at some point with our next revision of the code, because we know what's going to happen eventually, maybe next month, but who knows? And I don't know how it's put together, but I mean, is there a section that specifically addresses needs, especially of new startup businesses? I don't know.
I don't think
Do you know
that's
what I mean?
in the
You don't think
code.
so? No, it's not in our code.
Oh, you think it should be?
That's what I'm, yes. Do you know what I mean, just for discussion later on.
Right.
That doesn't assist us with this particular issue. So that's something that,
I mean, I know, and I was not on commission then when Vanilla Moose came from, but I was sitting out there. And the reasoning there for the flags was to keep the big trucks from parking on the
Right.
sidewalk.
right,
And that's kind of how that one
Right.
got passed. I'm just, when, let's say the crane business, which is right down the street, and step back off the highway and stuff, and they go, well, we really want these
Right.
feather flags now too. They have kind of the same circumstance, they're further back, they, and if we say no to them, they'll say, but you said yes to her, and how come her and not us? And that's where I see the, yeah. Did you want to say something?
yes, we do.
I'm sorry, what?
Do we want to reopen to testimony?
Oh, sorry.
Will you please come up, Bill? And we'll reopen to testimony.
We should just add that in. 'cause we-
I know, we can never close and be done.
Albeit, I thought, now look at this, he's giving this lady false hopes, and we're going to turn it down. The way to do it is to be very specific about why. Because this site is going to be different than probably any of the other ones. So
Well,
state 3
could
reasons
it-
why.
Could it potentially be, though, also that the length of time that a building was vacant previously?
Exactly.
I mean,
So
because
that-
that's a huge factor in putting a business in a location.
It's sad, it's not really geared to being commercial retail. As you see, it's more
Right.
like a wholesale
Or
type of
industrial,
building.
or, yeah.
So it has the
Wrecking
appearance of
company.
not being retail, that would be one reason. I'm going counterintuitive, but the floodgate is the fact that your staff has recommended no.
Mhm.
And you still, as I try to put it to you, without giving away you the
Yeah,
answer
but we've
sheet.
voted against staff before.
Yeah.
I'm
It
not
doesn't
scared of
bother me.
you.
I've been slapped bigger than that. But you want to just be specific, that it
Right.
has sat vacant, it doesn't look like a retail.
Right.
You're going to give 2 to help mark the entrance, because it's on a 40-mile-per-hour road.
Right.
That may be some other ones as well, but maybe not other ones. And just give a few of those examples why,
Right.
instead of saying, oh, well, they're having trouble. Well, anyone could say that. So that's exactly what we want to do, and just
Yeah.
ignore my recommendation.
Yeah, mine,
Or give them your phone number.
but I still just myself have the issue with the feather flags themselves. Just because I feel like they're clutter, and I'm not discounting that they can benefit businesses in drawing attention. I think
we have to be very careful.
yeah,
So Madam Mayor?
yes.
So Bill, in the motion, should we choose to, whoever makes the motion, we could list
We would
some
need
of
to list
those
Right.
reasons,
Exactly.
and that would help contain the floodgates, basically.
I think so, because you make it site-specific. The site is seriously hampered by visibility due to the fact that it's rented, and they don't control the fencing, so they can't remove that for better visibility. There's one that most people are not going to be able to come over because
Right.
they'll
There aren't
have
that
site
many.
control.
Right.
Then the second one is your traffic motions, with trying to get people to see it before they pass it. They're already passing it anyway with the median. The third being that it does not even appear to be
Right, it's not in a retail
a
zone.
retail-looking building, even though it's zoned for commercial. So it's a transitional use. Those 3 would be 3 good ones. There's also, I think, room there. It's probably a low traffic count. You could look at it at that point. It's not like it's a McDonald's with a lot of cars coming and going. So the visibility blockage is not that much of an issue as, say, a business that's going to have a higher traffic count. And those are all in books that will tell you what those counts are. So I could tell you what they are if I want to find them, but it's a real factor that you can point to.
And Madam Mayor, the visibility by the foliage and stuff too, it's one of those that kind of sneaks up on you because,
The foliage in the fence line
yeah, foliage in the fence. line.
earlier, yeah, prior to the building.
Madam Mayor, from a legal standpoint, land use applications are to be considered on the merits or lack of same for that particular application. Now, citizens and business people certainly don't understand that. So, I'm not saying that there's no precedential value in what you do. I'm saying if push came to shove and you had to defend it in court, that the law is pretty clear that each application is considered on its own merits or lack of same.
Without the issue of precedence being,
Yeah, but again, from a public relations standpoint, I'm not going to tell you
Right.
that that's going to protect you.
I think public relations, we just give them Mr. Humph's phone number.
Well, you're like on him tonight, aren't you?
I'll have my recording ready, so.
You just want to be able to, because people will come up to the commissioners individually
and say, well.
and
you
say,
gave
why
it
are
to
you
these-
playing favoritism? I mean, it will happen. I don't think a flood of people are going to do it, but it's nice to have the answers, and I appreciate the answers you gave.
Okay. So, that, however, last little piece of discussion actually brings yet another piece. When a motion is made, not only does it need to be in the affirmative, but we need to amend the findings of fact to reflect why.
Sounds kind of complicated, Madam
Well,
Mayor.
yeah, the motion should be quite specific, and you may
Right.
want to, if you're going to make a motion, you may want to take a few minutes to jot it down so that you have it as
Take some
specific as you
notes.
would like. That's just a suggestion.
That's very true. Okay,
So where were the three top ones? Vacant for 2 years, 40 miles an hour, and what else?
Lack of visibility.
Or was it not a retail zone, or?
well,
That too.
we don't want to use the word zone.
Does not appear to.
Right, does not
Zone.
appear, there you go, does not, right. There are not, it's not in close proximity to other retail establishments like that.
Is that one of the top three, though?
Yeah? Did we
Or
discuss
was
three?
it visibility top three?
I would say that it
We could do
doesn't harm
4.
visibility.
I'm sorry, what?
Doesn't harm the visibility for access, and if the building does not appear to be commercial, although it is, and then you are,
Retail.
whatever the first one would be, so.
Vacant for 2 years?
Vacant, which is it is an economic issue for the owner, certainly.
And the motion should contain the number of signs so that it's approved. That's just a specific number. If it's going to be approved.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm like, I didn't know if we were in discussion.
I have
or
no
if
more
we were still
questions.
testimony.
And for the record, I don't
For the
mind
discussion.
banner flags, just for the record. I really don't. I mean, it's guided me to a lot of things, even in Farmington, even though it's cluttered, there'll always be that one that catches my eye. Usually sale, but, yeah, even if it's kind of faded like sale.
You keep her.
I don't mind it at all, I really don't. I know it could be a hazard if you tried to stick it in the ground and it only went 2 inches when it's supposed to go down 3 feet. About 3 feet, I think those spikes go down there. I don't mind them, and especially in that area where it starts to get kind of boring looking. Not saying the county building is boring, but.
I mind too many of them. I'm kind of with
Right.
Commissioner
That's-
Sipe in Farmington. I don't even look at them anymore. They don't even get my attention because there's too many of them all right there. But-
Okay, so we're closing to testimony
All right.
again.
So we're in
Is there
discussion.
further discussion? Yeah.
Yeah.
Testimony is reclosed, correct?
Yes, yes,
Okay. Madam Mayor,
yes.
one of, I can see it more out on the highway than I can, say, on Main Street, the feather flags in our historic downtown. And I know that, I mean, yes, it would but being as it's a closer area, the businesses are closer to each other. That's one of my, I don't know, observations, I
Gotcha.
guess.
So
Where out
So
on
you're
the
talking about
highway,
up-
I'm thinking out on the highway, I can see it more, but I would like to throw out there that I would like to see it limited to maybe 4 flags, 2 for on either side of the entrance and maybe 2 more. Just so that we don't get
50.
even out there, yeah. I mean, if somebody else has another number in mind, I mean, that's fine.
You want to increase it to 4? Because they've only had 2.
Well, she said 2 to 6 in her testimony, and Ms. Clay said 2 to 6 in her testimony. And I certainly don't want to see them,
Meet in the middle at 4.
you know. You know, so, I mean, I know she said mainly for the entrance, so, you know, which is 2. But in her testimony, she said 2 to 6. So,
It's
I
a
mean,
big
Compromise.
property.
I'm willing, I mean.
A lot of fence.
It's about 100
There's
feet
quite a
across
bit
the
of
front.
fence
Okay,
there.
but we're close to testimony.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's quite a bit of fence
Okay, I'll
there.
ask you. It's a big property.
So, anyway, okay, that was,
Okay. Further discussion. Jump in there.
You
Madam
got to say
Mayor.
something when you open.
Well, I just like to say, I mean, I'm kind of with Katie. I really don't mind the feather flags or those type of signs either, as long as they're upkept and they're very catchy and they do mark where they're at. And as far as being on the highway or downtown, it's kind of case by case basis, I guess. I mean, if, as far as the floodgates, if other people do want to, well, you approve theirs, why not ours? Like, well, can they
Can you prove that
Make the
same type of
argument.
can they come
situation?
back and
Right.
reapply for variance? I guess. I don't,
Well, anyone can apply
anyone
for
can
a
apply,
variance.
right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's as far as that goes. Well, then, well, hey, you know, we approved theirs, and you'd like to apply for variance, go ahead, and we can.
As long as they understand it's
Okay.
not a guarantee, because it is a
Right.
case-by-case
Right.
basis.
Right.
Right.
So, and as far as that goes, I mean, as far as pushback, it's. We
Give
just
me your number.
stand behind what we say. Yeah, I mean, but no, as far as, I like the number 4. I
agree
would
with
say
the
I
number
like 2
4.
for the entry and 2 on the street. I do fully agree with limiting.
2
I'll
on the
support that.
street.
Well, I mean, just for
For
an
the entrance
example,
and
like
then-
2 on the entrance, then 2 elsewhere on the property.
Is that, I think
Makes
there-
sense to
it's
me.
at least 100-foot frontage.
If that's what they want to do, they can put them wherever they want, right? I mean, we're just.
So that would be like one, you know,
You would have to-
Well,
because
we're-
it's a huge double gate that opens.
Right.
So,
Or are we going to limit
It's
where
wherever
they
they
put them
want,
to?
on the property.
On the
on
property,
the
right,
property.
right.
Yeah, right. We can't tell them where.
Right.
Okay, one
In my
right
mind,
here.
I'm thinking that's what
Yeah.
I'm justifying.
You're thinking what?
That's why I was thinking 4 is
Gotcha.
4 on the gate and 4 elsewhere, but.
Madam Mayor,
I
one
like
more
it.
thing.
Mhm.
If Commissioner Randall's done.
Oh, I'm
his-
done, yes. Yeah.
Is, I would like for us to add into the findings of fact that they have to keep them in good condition.
Well, and I don't know what it does to it with the variance, but we have that within our sign code already.
So we can do that already?
Who defines
Hmm?
good condition?
can't.
That's-
But
Madam Mayor, if I may, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, don't we have basically a dilapidated sign section that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we
thou
don't need
shalt
that
not
in there.
dilapidate.
I want some of your Pepsi.
It was
All
iced
right.
tea tonight.
Further discussion. Someone ready to make a motion?
I'm thinking how to,
Commissioners,
I could
you're
give-
the
I
best
could
at
give it a
this. When
shot.
you reword them all.
I think she's the only one who's been taking serious notes, too.
I got some.
well, go for it, girls.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to move to approve 2016-025, an application for variance to the city sign code, adding to the findings of fact that the business has been vacant for 2 years. There's a lack of visibility from the roadway, and it is an area not known to be a retail area, along with traffic flow in that area going a little bit quicker than, I don't know how to put that, speeding right along.
No, you don't want to put speed.
And with those findings of fact, adding the limit of 4 signs to be kept in good condition at, Section 20-4-4 at 1815 West Aztec Boulevard for the 6 findings of fact and the additional findings of fact. Is that enough?
That's it?
Yeah, I'm just looking to make sure our findings of fact don't conflict.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe we should drop that
Can't accept
findings
those
of fact.
6.
Drop the first findings of fact.
The 6 that are listed right now.
There's 9, right?
There's 6.
Oh, 6, yeah. Okay, sorry.
Mr. Thrower? Should it just be the ones listed in the,
Yes, well, I mean,
Motion.
if you have logically inconsistent findings of fact.
right, that
Which I think you
supports.
do, I think number 6 is logically inconsistent with,
Okay,
because the council is, by granting the variance, is basically going to have to make an affirmative finding under the code section.
So amending the motion to delete finding of fact number 6?
no,
That would be what I would recommend.
oh, okay, delete. Okay,
Can you do that all over again?
Oh, my God.
Rogers?
how much of that do you have captured, Sherilyn?
All right,
Hey,
here we go. Madam Mayor,
yes,
I move to approve 2016-025, an application for a variance in the city sign code, section 20-4-4 at 1815 West Aztec Boulevard for the first 5 findings of fact, deleting the 6th finding of fact, and adding findings of fact that the business has been vacant for 2 years. There is a lack of visibility from the roadway. It is an area not known to be a retail area, and the traffic flow exceeds normal retail areas.
Yeah, 40 miles an hour.
and the
And I
number of
see-
flags.
Oh, I'm sorry. And to include 4 flags to be kept in good repair at all times.
Are you
Do
comfortable?
you have
with-
that, Sherilyn?
Okay,
It's on
All right.
YouTube, too. I'm just kidding.
yeah, it's on YouTube. All right, so we have a motion. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay.
Commissioner
McClure.
We're
McClure.
here on the end, the short one.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Sherilyn, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner McClure?
Aye.
Commissioner Randall?
Aye.
Mayor Burbridge?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Syke?
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers?
Aye.
All voted aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you for coming this evening and bearing with us. Okay, then that brings us back into regular commission meeting, and next item on the agenda, city manager, commissioner, and attorney reports. Mr. Ray.
Mayor, I have 2 items that I want to bring to attention of the commission. The first being the chamber banquet. It's the annual banquet, be held April 30th at the saloon tent located behind Microtel. We do have 2 tables for the city, and that's very exciting for those that will be able to attend. The second thing we have is an email that some may have received today. There's a student recognition at the high school. It's going to happen on Monday, April 25th at 11:30. It is from the Marine Corps. It is the issuance of the Pedro del Valle. Valle, that sounds good. So it's street scholarship, and that is a full ride scholarship, and that's going to be provided to, issued to, awarded to Adriana Sanders. So anyone that can make that too. That's April 25th at 11:30 at the high school. Very exciting
Yes.
for anyone locally to have that, to have a scholarship that's a full ride scholarship. I think it says, the wording in the email is it will provide for the entire curriculum of study. So if we recommend to her pick medical school or law school, maybe that'll tie in, but the longest she can take to get out of the Marine Corps. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. I'm going to pass on reports this evening. Mayor Pro Tem.
The only thing that I have, I do have Northwest New Mexico Seniors tomorrow. There was a little bit of confusion on when they were going to have their meeting at one point, but it is tomorrow, and so I'll be attending that. I will miss the EDAB meeting next week. I promise I'll be there in May. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Rogers?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
there have been no airport board advisory board meetings that I've been invited
You
to
keep up the
anyway.
good work on reporting on them.
They may be having them, but I've not been invited.
Oh, you've been invited,
It's been 2
okay.
years now. hasn't it? All
I
right.
keep looking for the next meeting.
Keeping our expectations low. Just,
Okay.
I haven't had any other meetings. I did go to the golf course on Sunday, though, because I had heard that he'd spiffed the place up a little bit. And he did. He painted, and it's kind of clear out in there. And going over some of the things that have happened and are going to happen, from class reunions to bridal showers, to tournaments, to graduation parties, and they're really starting to utilize it for a lot more things. There was like, I think 13 people out on the, or 13 groups out on the course even when I was there. And so it was encouraging to see such excitement.
Yes,
over it.
definitely.
And tournaments that are coming back this year
Right,
because they weren't aware of last,
good, right. The uncertainty last year.
That was nice.
Okay, is that it?
That's it.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Randall?
Yes. I did not.
Big smile.
Oh, I'm always smiling. Yeah. Well, smiling. I will be on out of town starting tomorrow through next Wednesday, so
Was that a
probably a little hard to reach.
Was it approved?
Yeah. And
Did you get approval?
yeah, yes, I did. From who I needed approval.
Yeah, there
from.
you go.
I did talk with Josh this week, or this last week. He attended the Water Commission meeting, and I'm going to get with him this month, and I'll plan on attending the next one, working with him on getting caught up, and then we'll attend the next one together, so we can kind of both get in there. And we finally got a date today on the next COG meeting, and I'll work with him on that as well, and what we can do to try to tag team that one. And I will say, been hearing from a lot of people how excited they are to get the next phase of the arterial route done, started, especially people at work, and just everyone's just excited to
It's
see
kind of
something
defined
started on
now.
this
You
end
can
of
actually
town.
see it as a road.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
have to
it's
have a
really cool.
sign up that says
Yeah.
roads closed.
Right. I've gotten,
And if I can add to that real quickly, because I know I had heard that, well, they'd stopped working, and I asked Josh, and he's like, no, they've been working every day. And you go out, and there hasn't been like as much that you can see from the road. But if you look out through the vegetation, you can see the equipment moving out over the hill. And so it's, even when it looks like nothing's happening, it's still
that's
moving.
great.
So.
It'll be a lot of fun, so very excited for that. And yeah, I just stole my little citizen recognition. That I think that's great for Adriana Sanders. Yeah, I remember when she was like a little bitty girl.
Yeah.
That's just fantastic. And that is all. Thank you.
Commissioner McCoy?
I have nothing.
Mr. Thorpe?
Speaking of the golf course, I'd heard a rumor that Jordan Spieth was going to come play, but he was going to skip the 12th hole.
The 12th at our course is also equally difficult, but there is no winner.
All right.
Poor guy.
Yeah, I have
That
nothing.
was awful, wasn't it?
And they have it replayed over and over and over.
All right. Then department reports.
Ah,
I've heard enough from you today, I suppose. I was speaking with Josh just this week, and I wanted to remind you that when I first got here, we were preparing a ordinance, a land use ordinance for the North Main corridor. And as we were working with that group, the idea came about the landowners working together on a bigger project, et cetera. And while I'm still hoping that we can help facilitate some type of work together, it's really been long enough. I'd like to introduce that ordinance because as we're approaching the road being, more active, and the property owners having access. So I think I'll probably try and get that on for the May 10th agenda that you'll have. And as Josh suggested, we'll get it out to you early so you'll have time to read that ordinance and familiarize yourself with it. I don't know, when we go through these questions, or maybe it's not a land use hearing, but if you have any questions, call me. I don't think it's a conflict to ask if you have any questions. Like it would be, I guess, on a case, if it was a predisposure or something. It's pretty simple, right, about 4 pages, and it just deals with what uses will be permitted, some expressly not permitted.
Land use
some
and zoning,
design.
that's only 4 pages?
Well, and some design factors. Yeah, it's kind of different. I'm editing it still, yeah, because I thought, well, let's put some numbers here instead of having to just dump that on Ed like have it happen last time.
It's 4-point font.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it's very small, very bifocals. I just wanted to let you know that, so.
All right.
Can I say something to Bill?
No.
Well, I don't know if I was like No, I just wanted to say, in regards to the agenda, I understand and I appreciate the recommended motion and everything on the agenda and where you're coming from as far as being staff and giving us your recommendation, and I do appreciate that and understand. Thank you.
Okay. You were getting away that easily.
No, I only have one item, and that is,
Promise?
did you bring your guitar? We could be here all evening because you could strum along. This is National Library Week across the United States. This whole week is National Library Week. The theme this year is Libraries Transform. So my one point is I would like to invite anyone who would like to come in anytime, but this week especially, and see how your library is transforming your community every moment of the day, the people that we're touching. It's more than 500 on average every day. People come through our doors, whatever they come through for, whether they're delivering boxes of books or coming to use our computers or just coming to check out who they can check out in the library. Because, of course, we're not checking out people right now, but we could. Hey, I wasn't going to be the entertainment tonight. So it is Libraries Transform, and your library is transforming your community. I'm going to assure you of that, but you can come and see it. And then today, within National Library Week, today is Celebrate Library Workers. So I do want to celebrate my staff, because every day they do their best to help people, to respond to people, to be real patient when they've helped the person before, to, like, it's showtime, folks, to respond to the unknown which comes through the door. So I would like to commend all of my staff, especially today. And next week they'll get the cherry pie, because next week we have our team meeting. We're never all together at the same time except once a month. So that's all I have today, is that celebrate your library, because it really is transforming your community. And I see it every day. Those of you who are not there might not see it, but I see the people we help and whose lives we change every day. So that is great. Thank you.
Great job.
Madam Mayor.
Kate, I just had a comment. My niece has been here for maybe 3.5 weeks, and she's already been to the library 6 times. So a lot of the things that she's had to do with getting things out or using the computers or whatever, she's just found it great. So kudos.
I was just going to say to pass to the staff that we appreciate them.
Yes.
Please.
Good evening. I just wanted to quickly announce that on Tuesday nights at 5:30 we do have square dancing. It's free at the center for anyone, all ages, and they are needing some dancers. So also Zumba, we have a group at 10:30 on Tuesdays. Also at 10, it's for seniors, so anyone who fits that age category, 50 and up, I'm a senior, you're welcome to come join and get into shape.
Put it on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll turn the cameras off. And then also starting next week, we have Zumba. Well, it started Thursday actually. So on Thursdays, we have Zumba for the public. And so we're doing some things. Tomorrow night's the Historical Society. They'll be discussing the UFO sightings. That's at 6 o'clock. So you're welcome to attend that as well. And that's it for now. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, no one else is running for the podium, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
All right, thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.